The other day, my sister, 36, complained that her family was in chaos. She doesn't understand why everyone can't get along and why they never had a truly good moment while everyone's together. I listened to her for around 20 minutes, and she told me I was being quiet. I responded that she clearly needed to vent, and I didn't want to interject. This was mostly true, but I also think my sister is a little insane for thinking she gets to have a nice, neat little family, given the craziness in her family. For context, my sister had her first child at 18, my nephew Shane, 18 male. She dated Shane's dad for a while and found out when Shane was 1 that her boyfriend had another girl pregnant, and so they broke up. My sister and the other mother both got arrested for fighting, and she swore she would never let that woman or her child near Shane. She got married at 21 and had 2 more kids, Katie, a teen female, and Rye, a young teen male. She then filed for divorce straight after Rye was born, and her ex-husband has been nowhere in sight since. A year later, she met another man and had a baby with someone. My niece, Lily Tween, is not my sister's biological child, but she raises her as her own, though unofficially since she's not adopted. Katie got married again and had Milo, 9 male, with her husband, and got pregnant with Sage, a preteen female, while married, but her ex-husband is not the father. Her youngest biological child so far is Niall, a male kindergartner, and his father's not in the picture either. My sister is married again. Her husband has 2 kids from his first marriage and 2 from his second marriage. He also has a child in his life who's not his biological child, doesn't get along with his biological kids, but he treats this child like his own. The household has many complicated relationships and divided loyalties. There are complications with some of the other parents and children involved. It's too long and complicated to get involved in, but even among my sister's children, they're not all cohesive close siblings, and some resentments exist for one reason or another. Anyway, Lily was venting to me. She said nobody she knows has a family so incapable of getting together as hers. She asked me why I thought that was, and I said blended families are more complex. She told me that there are people with bigger blended families than hers. I told her bigger doesn't always mean having as many others involved as hers. Then she said again that they're all a family though, and they act like they don't want to be. And that's when I said, probably because it's more of a circus than a family. My sister told me that that was really unkind and untrue, that they are a family, even if others can't see it. She told me she expects an apology before we can speak again. Am I the idiot? You mean to tell me that a revolving door of baby daddies doesn't make for a stable family dynamic? She needs a different hobby. She literally bred her own drama. Dear God, I had less trouble following the genealogy of Elden Ring characters than your sister's lineage. I'm giving you not the idiot verdict because, although your comment could be understood as rude, her life is obviously about perpetuating the same mistakes and having the same outcome at the cost of her kids' happiness in the end. I think I need a family tree since it sounds like she has 3 or 4 different fathers for her kids and then a few steps as well. Family tree? This woman's got more of a family bush. So many men have gone in and out of her life while leaving some kids behind. I mean, I know, using that term loosely, someone like this. And all they do is have the oldest watch the other kids, pretend to be at work when she's employed, if ever, or send the kids off with their dads. And whoever doesn't go to their dads gets sent to grandma's or auntie's house. She had like 6 kids last I knew. Meanwhile, I'm over here with 2 from the same dad that I divorced and didn't date for 5 years after our divorce was final, just to make sure I was healed and my kids were well adjusted. Exactly. It's like she's auditioning for the next season of Family Feud, Chaos Edition. However, gentle, you are the idiot. Your sister's family is a circus, but you don't say that part out loud. Just because it's true doesn't mean it isn't hurtful. Tact is what determines whether you say the first thing you think, or whether you take a minute to frame what you want to say in a way that won't hurt the other person's feelings. In a way that won't hurt the other person's feelings. I'm currently 6 months pregnant. This was a complete shock. However, my husband and I are both overjoyed. We already have a young grammar school daughter who's a cheerful and very curious little girl. Ever since she found out she's going to have a little brother or sister, she's been asking a lot of questions about babies and where they come from. Now, I was raised in a strict Mormon family where intimacy was never discussed. When I was a girl, I remember my parents saying something about mommies and daddies praying and God putting the baby in the mommy's tummy. I'm no longer Mormon or particularly religious at all, but I did convert to Judaism when I got engaged to my husband. For him, it's more of a cultural thing. Even though I'm not religious or Mormon anymore, sometimes my upbringing comes out in strange ways. When my daughter first asked how the baby got in my tummy, I panicked and repeated what my parents told me as a child, praying plus God put the baby there. A few weeks ago, my husband and I went on a trip for our anniversary, and my in-laws watched our daughter. My mother-in-law is incredibly progressive, the kind of woman who spent most of her life protesting and career-oriented. She's the opposite of my mom and many other women I grew up around, and I've always been in awe of her. But you can imagine my shock when I picked my daughter up from my in-laws' home, and the whole drive home, she was giggling and saying she knew how the baby got in my tummy. My mother-in-law not only described the mechanics of how the baby got there, but she told my daughter that intimacy is something your mommy and daddy do to make each other feel good. Now my daughter won't stop talking about it. She constantly asks me questions, i.e., are you having intimacy with daddy later? How many times a day do you have it? That I never quite know how to answer. She repeated everything her grandmother told her in the neighborhood and to apologize profusely to the child's mother. I've since explained to my daughter that certain questions aren't appropriate and that she shouldn't tell her friends about intimacy because it's something for their families to tell them about. It's gotten a bit better, but I still get random questions every few days and giggles because she knows how the baby got in mommy's tummy. As you can imagine, I'm not very happy with my mother-in-law. My husband doesn't seem to think it's a big deal, probably because he was raised by his mother and got the same speech from her at some point. But I'm angry. I called my mother-in-law and asked why she told my daughter all these things, and she responded that my daughter asked her where babies came from, so she wanted to be honest. I told her it was inappropriate for a child of her age. My mother-in-law said I have a skewed view of what's age appropriate due to my upbringing, and I needed to be more honest with my daughter unless I wanted to pass the shame on down to her. I think she may have a point about my skewed views of what's appropriate, since I was obviously very sheltered and kept in the dark about these things for most of my life, but I still think what my mother-in-law told my daughter about human biology was a bit much. Admittedly, I probably should have given her a better answer when she asked me. Still, I do feel my husband and I should have made the decision about what and when to tell our daughter about this. I raised my voice at my mother-in-law several times during this conversation. This is very uncharacteristic of me, and my mother-in-law said she wouldn't be spoken to like that by anyone. We haven't talked since. It's been 3 weeks. My husband wants us to go to lunch to reconcile, but I'm worried I'll snap at her again. Am I overreacting? Am I the idiot? OP, you realize your kiddo is teasing you, right? The reason she's asking questions like, how many times a day do you have it? Is probably because you're getting embarrassed. She's picking up on it, and she thinks it's funny. She's a smart cookie. Just answer her questions factually, and don't give her a reaction. Intimacy is only embarrassing and shameful if you make it that way. Oh, Mama's getting embarrassed. I shall now mash this button for all it's worth. Darn the consequences. I'm sorry, the funniest thing to me about all of this, and how it starts off with you getting pregnant as a happy accident, and on the flip side, your child has a concrete understanding of the mechanics of how babies are made. I know you know how it works, and surprise babies happen all the time, but it's still funny to me. So everyone's the idiot here. Your mother-in-law definitely overstepped, but the fact is you have not fully processed your shame. As a parent, it's your responsibility to work through that. Do better. So my 29 female, sister 27, and I have always been pretty close, or so I thought. Last year, I married the love of my life, and we had a small intimate wedding. My sister was supposed to be my maid of honor, but she never showed up. No call, no text, nothing. I was devastated, but I tried to focus on the day and not let it ruin things. Later, she explained that she had a panic attack and couldn't handle the pressure. I understood and tried to be supportive, but it still hurt that she didn't even try to let me know. Fast forward to now. My sister's pregnant and recently asked me for help, both financially and with planning her baby shower. She's in a tough spot and I do feel bad for her, but I'm still hurt about the wedding. I told her that I'm not in a position to help her right now, and she got really upset. saying that I'm being selfish and holding a grudge. Now my family's divided. Some say I should let it go and support her, while others think it's fair for me to be upset. So, am I the idiot for refusing to help her? I'm sorry. Panic attack or not, who doesn't turn up or even let the bride know they're not going to turn up at a sibling's wedding? Not the idiot. I wouldn't be helping her with anything. Tell her, I'd love to help with your baby, but I can't handle the pressure. I'm sure you understand. She didn't even give you the courtesy of a phone call, and now you're just supposed to forgive all? Has she even said the words, I'm sorry? Her crappy behavior surrounding your wedding is one thing. You're still allowed to say no to her, even if she had been the best maid of honor in the world. Do people not realize this? Insanity. Instead of showing remorse, she goes on to attack with accusations. I don't think she's sorry for missing your wedding. I think she was jealous and wanted to ruin your day, so she didn't show up. I wouldn't give her anything, least of all your time and money. Why is she even having a kid if she doesn't have any money? She's immediately asking for money and is pissed that you're not giving it to her? Screw her. Her selfishness is going to be a burden on you and your entire family for at least 18 years, and the people who can't pick a side are ridiculous. What will she do when she has a panic attack when the kid needs his diaper changed? Update. Am I the idiot for refusing to help my sister after she didn't show up for my wedding? Thank you all for your thoughtful advice and support. After much reflection, I addressed the issue directly with my sister. I arranged a meeting with her, aiming for an honest and open discussion about her absence from my wedding. It was important to articulate how deeply her actions affected me, particularly since she was supposed to be my maid of honor. During our conversations, I started by expressing how hurt and disappointed I was by her not showing up and not even attempting to contact me on the day of the wedding. I told her that her absence, especially given her role, was devastating and significantly impacted my special day. I stressed that her lack of communication made the situation even more painful. My sister's reaction was quite defensive. Instead of acknowledging the hurt she caused, she focused heavily on her panic attack. She claimed that her mental health crisis was so overwhelming that she just couldn't manage to reach out, and she expected this to be sufficient justification for her absence. She repeatedly said that I should understand how debilitating her condition was and suggested that I was being unreasonable for holding on to my feelings. I tried to explain that while I understood she was dealing with a serious issue, the lack of communication and the absence on a major day in my life left me feeling abandoned and unsupported. I emphasized that acknowledging the impact of her actions was crucial for moving forward and rebuilding our relationship. The conversation took a turn when my sister shifted focus to her current struggles. She's pregnant and dealing with financial difficulties, which she attributes to her baby daddy's lack of involvement. She asked for my help with her baby shower and financial support, framing it as a dire need given her challenging circumstances. It became apparent that she relied heavily on others to make up for her baby daddy's shortcomings. When I mentioned that I wasn't able to help financially or with the baby shower, she became upset. She accused me of being unsupportive and selfish. She seemed to believe that her current struggles should overshadow the past issues and that I should put my feelings aside to support her. My parents, informed about the situation, have urged me to be more forgiving and supportive. They believe that families should come together, especially in difficult times. Their perspective has been challenging, as it feels like they're minimizing my own hurt and focusing primarily on my sister's current needs. My husband has been a critical source of support. He agrees with my decision to maintain boundaries and not provide support under the current circumstances. He feels that while empathy is important, my sister's failure to take responsibility and her tendency to blame others makes it difficult to justify helping her. In the end, I've decided to stand by my decision not to help with the baby shower or money. Thank you again for your support and advice. A few years ago, I won a lottery and became set for many lives over. Even though my name and winnings were public records, I worked hard to keep it a secret. For the most part, it worked. After verifying my winnings and establishing a trust, I told my family. My plan was to help my 3 brothers and my parents, depending on their needs. My brother Chris and his wife Alice had 3 kids, and I offered to pay for a down payment on a house they wanted. As crazy as it sounds, I was more broke the first year of winning than the year before I won because I was helping my family out. I had one rule for anyone who took money from me: don't tell anyone about my money. Well, Chris and Alice did for clout, and that unleashed a lot of people bombarding me with money requests. These were friends of theirs, friends of theirs, in-laws, etc. Like my brother's brother-in-law asked me to pay for a wedding in St. Lucia because his fiancée wanted one, and I met the guy twice in 9 years. Though this happened in 2021, people still bother me constantly for money. I was angry and cut my brother off. This led to a rift in the family, and I essentially became estranged from them. It was unfortunate because I was very close to my nephews and wanted to spoil them. Last week, my other brother emailed me and said Chris has been sick all year and is bedridden and gets specialized care, something to do with breathing. I said that was sad. He said that Chris and Alice were going to lose the house because Chris hadn't been working. They have 4 kids from preschool age to teen. I told him if he had something to say, then say it. He asked me if I'd help them out by paying their outstanding bills until they could get back on their feet. I said no. The money isn't the issue. It's my privacy. I have no idea if they'll keep their mouths shut about me helping them. I get painted as a nice rich guy, and then I have 10 people bothering me with their problems. You help them once, they'll keep coming back. It's very funny how people just happen to have financial emergencies when you're helping others out. The other problem is that if my brother passes away, then I don't want Alice to get a house that I paid 20% off. She and I don't get along, and she's the one who put my business out there. She was so certain that I'd take care of them that she didn't even bother to say, "Thanks for the down payment in our dream house." How bad is their financial situation? Bad. I'd offer to help in other ways, but beggars want to be choosers and negotiate for their charity. Edit. Sorry, I gave them $420,000 to buy a house, and they managed to mess that up. They live in a nicer house than I do. I don't live fancy. I don't own a Rolex, and my clothes have holes in them. I bought my furniture from Big Lots. My other reason for not helping them is that I know for a fact that his wife wouldn't help me if the roles were reversed and would be less nice about it. I love my nephews, but I won't be blackmailed over them. When they come of age and reach out to me, then I'll be there for them. Not the idiot. You did a very big thing to help them on one condition. The wife broke that condition. Now they need help. And if I understand everything correctly, one of the reasons they need help is because the same wife refuses to work? Yeah, I wouldn't help either. If you're concerned about your nieces and nephews, set them up a college fund or something that only they have access to. I don't know, man. Are you the idiot? Technically, no. But at the end of the day, you won the lottery and would be fine no matter what. Your brother's dying, and if and when he does die, those kids are still your nephews, right? Maybe talk it out with your brother and Alice first, then decide. Everyone's the idiot here. Alice is the idiot for being unable to give you some basic respect and privacy. Your request was not too big, but maybe you could offer some grace in a time of need. I don't know, man. If someone gave me nearly $500,000 and all I had to do was keep my mouth shut, I'd be an enormous idiot to then turn around and blab for the stupidest reason imaginable. Social media clout? I hope their posts were worth it.